You're listening to Radio Azad, and this is your host, Ayesha. So, a few days ago, I had an old classmate, Ayaz, and he reached out to me and he said, "You know what, Ayesha? I have a cousin who has this very inspirational story, and that fits right in with the Radio Azad audience." So, I was very intrigued and I spoke with Asma, and what I found was this wonderful woman, a well educated investment banker turned homemaker turned champion cyclist, but yet floundering in the business of life. Someone who questioned her self identity and then how she turned her life around and achieved her full potential and now wants to help other women achieve the same. It is almost every woman's story. Let's welcome Asma Jan to the show. Assalamu alaikum, Asma. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I am absolutely delighted. You are the first Pakistani woman to race internationally in cycling, competing in the women's time trial event at the 2021 UCI Road World Championship in Belgium. Wow. And you were
Absolutely.
45 years old then and a mother of three, having taken up cycling just a year ago. That's absolutely remarkable. So, I want you to start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your life's journey and how you ended up as an international cyclist.
So life journey is, I did everything right, got the education, got the branding, I had the professional career and everything. But like every other woman, I also found myself that, after I got married, I really got involved with raising my children, and I wanted to do it all by myself. I wanted to be there for them. Being a professional person just wasn't fitting in because I guess I had done the professional work and I had done the college, the education. And now I thought it was time to spend and dedicate towards my family and my kids. And then, very quickly, 10 years pass by and you wonder, what did I do with my life? You start questioning, what happened?
Hmm.
I had a career, and then I started raising my family. So I'd really like to do something, right? So then I started thinking about, what I should be doing with my life. And anything that I undertook, it didn't pan out for me. Many things I did. For example, I set up my health and fitness business and I called it, the Ultra Fit Health and Fitness
Hmm.
Studio for women. I was training them to lose weight. I loved it because I really believe in fitness and I want to see women who are very fit as well. However, I guess when I did the inner work later, I realized that I was missing the alignment
Hmm.
between intention, which is a function of your mind,
Hmm.
and desire, which is a function of your heart. So unless there's alignment of the two, you're not going to be able to achieve your goal. And that's what happened to me. So when you feel like you've spent almost a decade or over just a little over a decade, so anything that comes your way, you're like, okay, I'll grab that. That's what, okay, fitness is great, so I'll do something like that. Maybe I'll work for my husband's company. Maybe I'll, if I get an offer as can you teach economics in a high school, can you be the headmistress? Yes, everything, yes to everything, because you're really questioning whether I'm even fit to be a part of the workforce
Hmm.
just because you've taken time out, right? So anything that comes your way,
Hmm.
that's what happened to me. At least I was like, yeah, okay, I can teach. That sounds good, but not realizing that that's not your calling. So if your heart and soul is not into it, you're not gonna be able to do that very well.
You're going through the motions. And you did your undergrad at Wellesley College in the US, right?
Absolutely.
And then you went into investment banking.
Yes, I went to grad school before investment banking. I was such a rush to complete my education, and I wanted to go back to Pakistan, right? So I said, कि मैं masters भी कर लेती हूँ खत्म, because I had gotten accepted to Columbia University's CPA, School of International and Public Affairs, and that was the school that I wanted to go to. My once again my dream grad
Hmm.
school. So I said, okay, I'm going to get my education out of the way. So I did that. I got myself a job, went to career fairs, women career fairs, landed myself a job at Chase Manhattan Bank, which was my very first job, right? I did it all by myself,
Mm-hmm.
took my CV pillar to post, landed a job, which was also my dream job, right? So I had one great thing after the other happening to me. And I had aligned these opportunities for myself because I believed in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the way, I lost touch with my highest potential.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I figured that, I wasn't able to get back into the job market, get the job that I wanted, because I've had this frame of mind that, business is for very successful people. So I can just get a job, right? So that mindset I wasn't able to get rid of until now.
Mm-hmm.
That I was always looking for a job, and I had we were living abroad, but I had moved our family back, convinced my husband that Pakistan is the best place for us to raise our family.
Okay.
And 2012, we moved back to Pakistan, and I found myself raising two children, then three children. Very had my hands full, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always had this desire to do something. But whatever I did at that time was not working out for me. Until I got fired from my last job, I was laid off,
Mm-hmm.
made redundant. They did not need my services anymore, which is when I really said that I was overqualified for this job. I was doing a good job at it, but then why did I lose this job? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I really questioned myself, and I wanted to take a step back and say, I need to figure out before taking the next best thing that comes my way. So I had like what I call the shiny object syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just go after the next best thing that is being offered to you. So I said, no more shiny object syndrome. I'm going to figure this out. I took a step back, did some deep work, took a lot of online courses, tried to figure out what was going on with my life. And then I had also gone to Hajj in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at Hajj, I told God, I said, I don't know what's happening to me, just guide me. I need your guidance. That was my pivotal point. It was the catalyst towards my spiritual journey,
Mm-hmm.
and I completely transformed after that.
Mm.
I mean, I've never looked back, and things changed for me so radically after I performed Hajj.
That is great to hear. So I love what you said, going after the shiny object syndrome. Do you think like society puts these crazy pressures on us that exactly we need to go to, graduate school, I mean, undergrad, then graduate school, then get a wonderful job, raise a family, do everything perfectly, right? And not even think a little about ourselves and our own self and our own identity in the whole process. Is that something that I think
Absolutely.
you were
Yeah.
struggling with?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I knew that's true, right? Like, I knew that I had to get my education out of the way before I get married, because I knew it's very difficult to juggle grad school with children. So
Mm-hmm.
I was very clear about that. But I was 21 when I completed my grad school. I was very young
Mm.
because I was in such a rush to complete my education. And yeah, and then obviously you have to get a job. I mean, that's what we are taught in the American system, get yourself a
Yeah.
job, and you have to. I did all that. Um, and then I guess the system doesn't really is not great at teaching you that you can do something for yourself as well.
Mm.
Like, job is not the end all be all.
Right.
And since my training was always to get a job, have a career, then the career can be based on the entrepreneurial side as well, right? I always wanted to do something, but something I always told myself, "Nahi, like career, that's maybe just not for me. I'll just do the job, maybe that's
Mm.
better for me."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was such a mental block that I had created for myself.
Right. Right.
It's just a personal mental block. I mean, why can't you be? Because you see, the decision to set up a business does not cost any money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking कि investment kahan se aayegi, where will I get investors from, and this, once you decide to set up a business, that is cost free. Any decision to set up a business venture, to buy a property, house, whatever it is, it doesn't cost any money. Once you decide to do something, that
Mm-hmm.
is the beginning of a different journey and a different trajectory, which I did not understand for a very long time.
Mm. Okay. So you moved back to Pakistan, you're raising your family, and you go for Hajj. And then how did cycling fit into all this?
Okay, so right before going to Hajj, right before that was 2018. So right before like COVID hit, I was I'm a polo player. I belong to a family of polo players. Brother's father also polo players. So grew up playing polo in Pakistan, and that's how I got into my dream college because I was playing competitive polo throughout my school and high school, and I was. Given an award by Benazir Bhutto, Nawaz Sharif, like so I had these accolades which I had collected, and I got me into my dream college, which was Wellesley College at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
when I brought my children back to Pakistan, I wanted to maintain stables, which I did in Karachi. And I would take the kids riding with me, and we would play polo. I started a beach polo chakkar as well, a
Mm-hmm.
fun polo chakkar for everybody. I mean, I pioneered it.
Okay.
Um, which is still going on to this day, and it's become a very big chakkar now. So the
Okay.
beach polo, I will totally take credit for starting that, at a specific place in Karachi, which, so everybody could partake.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that when COVID hit, I had to shut my stables. I was forced to shut them. I did not know what will happen to the horses. Nobody knew anything. So the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I did is I packed up my horses in stables and I sent them to my brother in Lahore. And I said, I don't know what's going to happen. So just handle that part of it. And he was very happy to have them. And, you know, I thought that was the end of my career in my end of my sports career for me and my kids, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the end. When I shut my stables, it was like something had been pulled out of my heart. A part
Sure.
of me
Piece of
had
you.
gone with them.
Mm.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult, but it was inevitable. But I didn't realize that once you end a certain door, another one opens for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I started COVID hit and started cycling with the children because my son needed to do exercise.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing for children to do. So got a little few bikes for the children. I would go out, around the house, a few chukkers, rounds around the house. Then a few friends said, why don't you come join us? So I went with them and they said कि इसकी तो साइकिल इतनी स्लो है तो we will send you a cycle ताकि तुम at least you can keep up with us. तो
Uh-huh.
उन्होंने मेरे पे रहम खाया, उन्होंने कहा कि हम आपको साइकिल भिजवाते हैं, so
Uh-huh.
come and ride on the little bit sea view पे आ जाना. So I joined them on sea view. साइकिल भी अच्छी थी. I said चलो ये तो this is fun, right? Like, and I can do a little bit better. So I said, okay, that's really good. And then I guess I liked it. So I got a Chinese bike. Us waqt no bikes were being imported, only local bikes were available. So the
Mm-hmm.
only local bike I could get was a Chinese bike. It was
Mm-hmm.
quite something, very
Mm-hmm.
noisy. The heaviest race bikes are very, very light. They're made of carbon fiber. So this one was actually very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got, but I loved it. I
These
loved it
days,
so
these
much.
days, we're looking at Chinese products with new eyes.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm sure they make good bikes, but typically the best
Mm-hmm.
race bikes are not Chinese. There
Mm-hmm.
are other brands
Yeah. Yeah.
specifically. So anyway, I mean that was I was so happy with my bike. That's the point, right? I was so
Mm-hmm.
happy with it. I loved it. When I
Mm-hmm.
was on that bike, I felt myself, and I felt like it's going to take me places. And
Mm-hmm.
that was I felt most connected to my higher self when I was cycling, right? So I saw an ad on Facebook looking for a female cyclist, a team in Karachi called the BCA, Pakistan Cycling Academy, looking for a female cyclist.
Mm-hmm.
And something rang a bell. Believe me, I would have never I responded to an ad like that. Something rang a bell. And I said, I need to call these people because I was a polo player. I don't play polo, but maybe I can be a part of the women's team. Polo, I've only played on the men's team, right? There are no women who play polo. So when
Mm-hmm.
I saw women's team, I was like, I can do this.
Wow.
I'll be a part of the women's team. So I felt like I should call. I called them. They never called me back. I
Mm-hmm.
kept haranguing them, okay, just talk to me. I'd like to meet you. And they were like, you're a polo player. Why would you come into cycling? And then they said, okay, got invited to a time trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I called one of my friends. I said, Meri to bike is very not fit for this. So can you lend me a bike? I'm invited to a time trial.
Hmm.
And I was sent a bike, and I one day before I went on a ride on that bike, so I knew how to ride it.
Hmm.
And the next morning I went, and believe me, when I went to the venue on Seaview, all the women were half my age. And I said, "ये मैं
Okay.
किधर आ गई हूँ? Why am I even here?
Uh-huh.
44 years old. Why am I here?" I said, "Okay, I'll just go back." And then
Hmm.
they started calling my name that, you're going first. And I was like, "Why me? Why me? Why should I have to go first? Other
Uh-huh.
women are there. They should go first."
Hmm.
Anyway, they were just, very quick, and
Being
they
kind, being kind.
yeah, they said, we'll be calling out your name in the next few minutes, so be ready. And I was like, oh God, I can't even go anywhere because now they've noticed me. So
Hmm.
anyway, I went for my time trial when my time was called. And right after the time trial, this was like, I think 20 kilometers. So not, it was a bit quite intense. So
Hmm.
after that, I just disappeared. And I'm a housewife, right? So I disappeared because 9 baj gaye hain. The time trial was at 8 o'clock, and 9:30, I have to go and buy my groceries.
Hmm.
That's what I do, right? As a
Yeah,
housewife. So I
absolutely.
disappear to buy my groceries, which is in the basement. So my phone cannot ring. And then I come out, and the phone has like 6 missed calls.
Okay.
And I'm like, who's calling me? And at this time,
Hmm.
so they said that, you were not answering your calls. We were calling you. And I was like, but why are you calling me? And they
Hmm.
said, because you won the time trial.
You won the time trial.
Won
Okay.
the time trial. And I couldn't believe it. I said, like, really, me? I won the time trial? They're like, yeah, you won in your category, not the pro category, the amateur category, जिसके लिए हमने आपको try out करनी थी. So you have won. So we would like to interview you for the team.
Look at that.
Believe it. Couldn't believe it. So they interviewed me. I got into the team, and that's when things started moving for me, right? And
Mhm.
फिर मुझे याद आया कि मेरे नाना मेहता अब्दुल खालिक जिनका नाम था was a champion cyclist
Mm.
of his time, gold medalist. He was selected um, for the All India team to
Mhm.
participate at the Olympics in 1940. I believe वो cancel हो गई थी
Mhm.
because of World War II. He didn't
Yeah.
make it to the Olympics because Olympics got cancelled. But
Hmm.
I said I will, the meaning I assigned to this, because you see, I had done so much inner work,
Mm.
and I had recognized all the signs that led me towards this ad. I said, okay, so I've been chosen by my grandfather to carry on his legacy of cycling.
Look
That
at
is the
that.
meaning which I assigned to it.
Mhm.
And when you assign, events are 100% neutral. It
Mm.
is the meaning which we assign to them which determines their outcome.
Mhm.
So that was the meaning which I assigned to it कि मुझे तो डैडी ने चूज किया है ताकि उनकी लेगेसी कोई साइकिलिंग कर सके फैमिली में, and I'm the chosen one. So I have to do it. And lo and behold, in the very first nationals जो 3 महीने में थे, I won my very first gold medal in the
Wow.
road race.
Wow. That is spectacular. Okay.
That
From
is
just
the meaning that
having,
I had assigned to it,
yeah,
right?
from just having picked up a bicycle a year ago.
Uh, no, no, not a year ago, 3 months
Oh,
ago.
3 months ago. Okay.
Yeah. So that was very, even for me, I
Mm.
was in shock
Mhm.
that how can that happen? But that is what happens when you are the creator, co-creator of your own life, that
Mm.
you make things happen for yourself.
Mhm.
And we all have the ability to do that, but we
Yes.
forget that we have the ability. We become victims, and we want people to
Absolutely.
feel sorry for us.
Mhm.
And we want everyone to feel, I am stuck in this situation. I have kids, and I'm not able to do anything with my life. Any interview I go for doesn't work out. I've lost my, you can either be a victim, or you can use it to strengthen you and figure out why things are going wrong in your life, because
Right.
that is my reconnection with my highest soul purpose. That
Mhm.
was like my spiritual journey.
Yeah, and so many things that you've talked about. And by the way, there are people who are messaging me if they can ask questions. So we'll do the questions at the end of
Absolutely.
this conversation. So there are millions of women who feel just like you, right? They know they want to do something with their life, but they just don't know what they're good at. And you gave this wonderful example about how you were in tune with this opportunity, right? It was completely something different, polo to bicycling. And at that time, were you aware that, hey, this is a different opportunity, or did you just take it as just something else, something different that's knocking at the door? Did you recognize that this could be an open window?
I absolutely recognized it. And I'll tell you why. The reason I recognized it is because I had trained myself
Mm-hmm.
to figure out the two main questions which they teach you in coaching. What is it that you truly desire?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you desire it? And because I had done a lot of worksheets and I had done all the work that was inner work, the inner healing, the meditations, whatever you name it,
Mm-hmm.
I had figured out my what and my why. My what was that I wanted to be extraordinary,
Mm-hmm.
and my why was that I wanted to regain my self worth and my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I had done the work to figure out what is it that I desire and why do I desire it. The how does not matter. It's
Mm-hmm.
not up to me to figure out the how. The how I'm going to be led to. So when I saw that ad, that was my sign. I was led to an ad that something told me, isko call karo,
Hmm.
keep at it, be persistent, because when you do the higher work, you are going to be guided. The
Hmm.
universe will knock on your door until you do that thing. So when they didn't call me back, you know what? Something told me that, don't give up,
Hmm.
call them again. I'm not one to give up. So anyway, that comes naturally to me, persistence. But you see, when you are being guided,
Hmm.
you are going to be guided. The how is not your concern, what happens.
Hmm.
And because I was not concerned about the how, you're only concerned about how you will get there if you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
I had no doubt in my mind that I will reach my goal of my what and my why. And
Mm-hmm.
because I had this faith, indelible faith
Mm-hmm.
in Allah and in the supreme power, I just did what came my way.
Hmm. Excellent, excellent points. And I love all the things that you're talking about. And now you all know, listeners, why I wanted to bring Asma Jan on the show with me today. Talk a little about conquering your fears, Asma. How do we as women go past our self doubt and self sabotage?
So I have put together a course, an online course just on your question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I have come to realize is I've packaged it all in something called the flawless framework.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the flawless framework is something that took me from my self doubt and lack of self worth to
Mm-hmm.
becoming a national champion cyclist, to representing Pakistan at the World Cycling Championships, and giving me the confidence so I could become a digital entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the flawless framework, basically. And it's, I can take you through it. It's basically, F is for freedom. You have to free yourself from past baggage. You have to focus
Mm-hmm.
on your what and your why. L is for letting go of the past that doesn't serve you, letting go of the thoughts which do not serve you. A
Mm-hmm.
is for accepting yourself wholeheartedly. Now, if you, for example, A is so important. Accepting yourself wholeheartedly, I mean to say that if you are a housewife like I was,
Mm-hmm.
and you do not accept it, and anytime I say that, I'm not happy with being a housewife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the focus is on not happy being a housewife. So how will you go from not happy to happy? If you keep focusing on the not happy, you will remain stuck in the not happy. I remained stuck in the not happy for 10 years because the focus is what makes you happy?
Mm-hmm.
What are the steps I need to take to launch my business? If I shift my focus from not happy being a housewife to what are the steps I can take to launch my own business, then the focus is going to take you towards your goal. But if you are focusing on the wrong things, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy with being a full-time housewife. I'm not happy with my 9 to 5 job. I'm not happy with the way I look in the mirror. We keep focusing on the
Things
not so happy
in your
part,
life.
and
Mhm.
a decade passes and you're like, wait, why am I not moving forward? Because your focus was in the wrong place. You
Mm.
will only move forward by accepting your situation. I had to write it down. I accept, Asma Jan, accept myself wholeheartedly. I
Mhm.
am grateful for my family. I'm grateful that I am blessed with children. I'm grateful that I am breathing. And I'm grateful that I have the privilege of being able to cook for my family. I
Mm.
had to accept it wholeheartedly, offer gratitude. That is acceptance. Accepting yourself, not running away from your identity,
Mhm.
accepting who you are. So that is just like the A. And then the W is the cultivating that winning mindset. And that comes from my training in sports, right?
Mhm.
You cannot think about losing. You are a winner. We are all born winners. And that's what I teach you, that you're going to cultivate this winning mindset.
Mm.
And then after that is limitless. At the other L is for we are limitless. I teach you how to become limitless, right? There's a whole um, 3 lectures on that.
Mhm.
E is for embodying your authentic self. You
Mhm.
see, when we go after the next best thing that is being offered to us, right? Like becoming a teacher or launching a business which you
Mhm.
don't have your heart into, you're not embodying your most authentic version
Yeah.
unless you step into your most authentic version. And the example is that until and unless I stepped into being a sportswoman, once again, cycling,
Mm.
I wasn't able to excel. In the end, I became a digital entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
But that path that took me to it was my most authentic self, where I felt most authentic. I was not copying anybody else by being a cyclist. That is who I am, a true sportswoman. And I recognize that. So embodying your most authentic version,
Mhm.
right? And then the last two S's. One is for self image, crafting that perfect self image for the mirror of reality. Because
Mhm.
basically, I teach you in the course that there is your inner world, which is reflected in your outer world, only with a delay. The outer world is your 3D reality, what we are experiencing.
Okay.
But what we are experiencing is actually how we are feeling inside.
Mhm.
That is what is reflected with a time delay of delta t.
Okay.
It's just a time delay. Now,
Yeah.
the time delay exists in any manifestation to become a part of your reality.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the time delay, which I call T, we don't have to complicate it, right? It's
Mm.
just related to how much resistance you have about that manifestation.
Yeah.
If you think कि बहुत मुश्किल है business setup करना नहीं हो सकता, तो फिर वो नहीं होगा.
Mm.
Because you see, when I became a digital entrepreneur, I didn't know how to shoot a video on
Mhm.
my camera. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know anything, right? So I had spent all this time saying I can't do it because the
Right.
focus was on the wrong thing. It only started happening when I said I can do it.
Mm. Right. It's a total mindset shift. Uh,
Total shift of the
yeah.
mindset. And
Yeah.
then the last S is for surrender,
Mm.
surrendering to the higher Allah.
I know,
And
I know that what you are saying, the spelling out has struck a chord with one of our wonderful listeners. Uh, so, SKFG, I'm sure you were taking notes. Asma, what factors or obstacles do you feel hold women back in our society from achieving their full potential?
I think the main one is fear,
Mm.
facing your fear, right?
Which was
They
my
don't
next
know
question.
that taking the risk, like they're very fearful. Okay, what if I can't make it?
Mm.
Or what if I fail? So what if you fail? I mean, it doesn't matter. What are you afraid of? That what are your friends going to say if you fail?
Mm.
So what if you fail? I've lost many races in my life, right? So what? That is what sports teaches you, facing your fear. You
Mhm.
have to face your fear. If you don't take a risk, you do not, for example, if I didn't shut my stables, right? If I didn't shut them, I would never be introduced to cycling. But there was a fear, what will happen if I shut my stables? But
Mhm.
I have to face it. You have to do it.
Mhm.
There is no other option. So for example, people will be very fearful, "Okay, I can start a business, they can, what if it fails, फिर क्या होगा, fail हो जाएगा, you, it will be a learning,
Yes.
experience for you. You would have learned so much,
Mm-hmm.
and it will take you to another next level where you can look at doing something slightly different. So
Mm-hmm.
the fear factor should not be there. First of all, we're not doing things to impress other people.
Yeah.
We're doing this for ourselves.
इट्स अ ह्यूज थिंग इन आवर सोसाइटी कि लोग क्या कहेंगे और हम अपनी ज़िंदगी दूसरों के लिए कि वो क्या कहेंगे वी डोंट लिव आवर लाइव्स टू आवर
But
पोटेंशियल
even more than the
सिंपली
people,
बिकॉज़
it's
ऑफ दिस
about failing in our own eyes. That what
हुँ,
if we fail, and you will sort of have another. Okay, so people will some. I would also tell myself that okay, then get another thing I would not be able to accomplish.
हुँ,
So what?
या,
So what? You are accumulating. So there is what I should show you is, like, for example, if we were to measure happiness factor
हुँ,
over time, on one axis is your happiness factor, and on one axis is your time, x axis being the time, right, and your y being the happiness factor.
हुँ,
Now if we were to say, okay, when Asma launches her business, we give it a number, say Asma's happiness factor will be 100.
हुँ,
Okay. So Asma will launch her business in 1 year's time, and her happiness factor will be 100, right?
हुँ,
Now, along the way, Asma has done so many things. For example, after 2 months, she learned how to shoot a video. So
हुँ,
her happiness factor goes up to 20. Then after 3 months, Asma has learned to edit the video. My happiness factor for editing the video, let's call it 30. And then along the time, at 6 months, Asma has actually launched a YouTube channel. So my happiness factor is 70. Now, if you add up all these happiness factors over 1 year, they will add up to greater than 100,
yeah.
which is your
Small
ultimate
wins,
happiness factor.
small wins along the way.
So what does this tell you? That the process is everything. Even if you fail to reach that goal, you have evolved into a stronger version of yourself. You are not the same woman
Mhm,
at all. So you're growing in that direction, and
right.
your goal may even change.
Mhm,
You see, after a year, you'll say, I wanted to move, I want to do something else.
yeah.
What you think you want to do right now may not be. Once you achieve your goal keeps shifting as well, because we keep growing as people, which is what people don't understand. There
Yes.
is nothing really known as a failure.
Absolutely. So, Asma, every woman and every human being needs a support system, a cheering squad, right? You have your spouse, or you have your parents, or your siblings, or children, or mentors. How does one go about building an authentic support system, especially a woman in Pakistan?
I think so. That is difficult, right? Your family is there to support you, but
Mhm,
having that group of um, friends, I find it's very difficult. It's very challenging, because
mhm,
you're there for them, and you're doing whatever you think as a good friend should do. But a lot of times, what happens is, when you expect something in return,
mhm,
then it doesn't match up to your expectation, and then obviously you feel that it it why was I even relying on my friends so much? And that
mhm,
happens more with then you realize that it's not as easy.
mhm,
It's very challenging to have a supporting system. So you have to be a very strong person. You have to rely on yourself more.
mhm.
That you will not be um, this. You will not let this affect you, because then your work suffers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So as long as you have family supporting you, your husband, your spouse, or your children,
Mhm,
and that support will also be varying, right? Like some days you'll get a lot of support, and other days your children will be like, oh, that looks really funny, that video. And then you're like, okay, but I thought that was a good video, right? So
mhm.
always have, you will always go through these ups and downs, and
Yes,
building that support, you are your strongest support. You
right.
believe in yourself, you're going to make it. You do not believe in yourself, your family and your friends are not going to help you make it. I can
Mhm.
give it to you. This is 100% true. You will make it on your own, because you have the faith and you have the strength to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your mindset when you hit rock bottom. What did you learn about yourself? How does one look deep within themselves when they are in this kind of mindset?
So hitting rock bottom is is an amazing thing that can happen to you, because you see, rising from that rock bottom is is what teaches you the strength and the answers that you need. Because when I hit rock bottom, everything was falling apart. My whole life was falling apart around me. And that is when people deal with it in a different way. But for me, luckily, I went for Hajj, and I surrendered, and I said, I am just a person. I
Hmm.
need guidance. I don't have answers. I need answers. I am educated. I did everything right, but still things are not going right for me. So I sought guidance. That is surrender. You are surrendering to the higher power and
Hmm.
you are seeking guidance. And you see, things do not change immediately. So, right after Hajj 2018 to 2020, I became a cyclist. So, things don't change immediately. You have to ride the wave.
Mm.
So, what you need to do is ignore your reality. You have to understand your inner is reflected in your outer. So if you're not seeing, if you're seeing things falling apart in your outer, is amazing. That means reality is paving the way for you,
Mhm.
taking you through the path of least resistance, shifting things around so you can get to your goal. So if you see your life falling apart, pat on the back, you did it. Life is falling apart, there will be something in it for you.
Mhm.
It's happening for a reason. That's exactly what happened to me. I had my period of growth right after my life was falling apart.
Mhm.
I felt was falling apart. Stables बंद कर दिए, कोविड शुरू हो गया, कोई जॉब नहीं मिल रही थी. I was laid off from my job. You see, things are falling apart. And
Mm.
then you just have to say, I'm going to ignore the reality because I have faith. Faith is one thing that keeps you going through all this. You lose your faith, then you've lost yourself.
Mhm.
So keeping the faith and believing that if you have faith that you will make it, and then rising and then growing as a person.
Yeah,
That
rebirth, right? And every opportunity is there for a rebirth and redoing of what you actually are at that particular moment in time. So
yeah.
the opportunities are all around us, right? Mia Hamm said, "Success breeds success. One win, right? One success." So sometimes one success puts a whole chain of successes in motion. Do you believe in this mantra? And how do you embark on that pathway to success with that first step? And I was hearing one of your interviews where you call it a receptive mindset. Talk a little bit about that.
So I totally believe in that quote. Obviously, once you know what the first step is, the most difficult step, right? The most difficult. For example, if I want to be a digital entrepreneur and I don't know how to use my camera on my phone, right? So
Mm.
I will not be able to make a live video for the first time, and I'll say, I'm just not going to get there. But once you do take that step, no matter how bad your first step is, you have still taken a step, no matter how bad your first video was. In, for example, in my case, right?
Mhm.
No matter if, even if I don't know how to do cycling, I'm giving many examples so people can relate to it. Suppose I joined a team, I don't know how to do cycling. I know how to do cycling, मुझे cycle चलानी आती है, लेकिन being in a cycling team is totally different,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
I don't know how to draft, for example, that you are
Mm.
trying to save your energy by being behind somebody's wheel, right? So I
Mhm.
don't know how to sprint. So you have to learn all that. The first step is the most difficult. But you see, from my journey of being a cyclist to being a digital entrepreneur, you can see that one thing leads to another, that you just need the confidence. So if that, all my life I thought that I was after financial independence, कि
Mhm.
मुझे एक नौकरी चाहिए that makes me feel worthy. Until I won my first gold medal, I didn't realize that it was not financial independence I was after. It was self-worth and confidence that I was
Mm.
after.
Mm.
So once you get your self-worth and confidence, it can be from anything. So what women are going through is a lack of self-worth and confidence, and playing small, not playing it, okay, if you have to set up a business, then don't take that job, because that will just hinder you from setting up your own business. So we just keep playing small because we want to play it safe, right? We want
Mm-hmm.
to be very safe, not understanding that, once you do get your confidence back, the journey is long. We are all on, life is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Every step we take is towards our journey. So once you realize that the first step is the most difficult step, but once you embark and fully commit to that step, you will see doors open for you.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get your confidence back, that is the game changer. So if you become attractive, you do not have to chase. Now, attractive is not physical attraction. I'm talking about magnetic attraction, when you don't have to chase after business opportunities, people, because you will attract them into your life. Like I attracted that cycling opportunity into my life,
Mm-hmm.
other people are also able to attract opportunities or soulmates. That's what you're looking for. That's what you can manifest.
Mm-hmm.
But that has to come with the fact that you are going to become your most authentic person, which is your most magnetic person, which is what I teach you in my course called
Yeah.
I'm Flawless.
Mm.
We are all flawless, and I will take you through the flawless framework to figure out how you can become the most attractive version of yourself.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I think at the core and the crux from what I am understanding you is that it's very important to understand your authentic self, right? Why is
Absolutely.
that? Once you understand your authentic self, then only you can go on this transformative journey.
That's very true. Absolutely. Because our ultimate goal is to find our purpose, why we are here. And we are all here. Every little, even an ant, everybody's here, and we all have our purpose. It is our duty to find out what our purpose is. Because once we find our purpose
Mm.
in life, कि हमें पैदा क्यों किया गया था,
Mhm.
that's when we are able to give back to this world.
Mm.
That's when we are able to make a difference in the lives of others, because ultimately that's why we are born, to make a huge difference in the life of other people, not just us. So once we
Mm.
find out who we are authentically, कि आपका इस दुनिया में क्या purpose है, I want to make a difference in the lives of as many women as possible and show them that we are all have this ability to succeed. There is
Mhm.
nothing known as failure. That is my mission. I want everyone to find that out. Do not, get bogged down by various situations
Mhm.
in your life, because
Right.
we are all born to have a purpose and to serve other people. That is the ultimate goal
Mm.
of
And
service, right?
I want to give out Asma's information. It's iamflawless.net is her website. You can connect with her on Instagram at I'm Flawless Official and Asma Jan Cyclist as well. And by the way,
My
if you want to,
website is I'm flawless with no a. I'm flawless.co.
oh, .co. Okay, I'm flawless.co. Um, you can call in if you want to ask Asma any questions. Studio phone number is 972-501-9390. 972-501-9390 is that number. Asma, you work with women all over the world to help them achieve their full potential. Any transformative story that stands out with you?
Many stories have, I worked with many women,
Mm-hmm.
and the stories, and there have been so many different ones, but there's one which has really stood out, because this, one lady really thought that, everything was falling apart for her,
Mm-hmm.
and she would not be able to do anything with her life until,
Okay.
she went through the program step by step. um, and she was able to launch her own consulting business
Mm-hmm.
from, believing that, she cannot work. She has children, right? So if you have children, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to spend the whole day at a job.
Mm-hmm.
So helping her realize her potential, that, you're able to launch her own business. It's not difficult, because she wanted to do something which was consulting based as a freelance consultant,
Mm-hmm.
which she wasn't able to, because she lacked confidence, lacked self-worth, had been out of the job market for so long, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another lady was able to launch her baking business, started, baking from her own kitchen. And, they're just, it really helps. It makes me very happy that when I'm able to help women realize their potential, that it's not just about getting a job or a career.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it, that you can do something for yourself, and that's what I specialize in, teaching you to do something for yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
launching that business venture which you had always wanted to launch. And another thing which I also teach, and this has been around attracting the right soulmate, right? So
Mm-hmm.
many women or younger women come to me, and they are mostly concerned because their relationship has not worked out, and they're feeling very, very low. So that gives me, that is very dear to my heart. I think that really, I like helping those kind of women, because when somebody has dumped you and you're not in a good place, to come out of that is very, very difficult. But then, if you ask me, I teach women who come to me with such issues, that their relationship didn't work out, on their marriage failed,
Mm-hmm.
then I have to teach them what it means to have self-worth, and how you cannot chase after people. You
Mm.
cannot keep chasing after
Right.
one person or
Mm-hmm.
another person. If somebody has not, you have to be in a position to be able to attract people. The right person will
Right,
be
people.
attracted to you in your life
Mm-hmm.
when you become the version of yourself that you want to see in that person.
Sure.
Unless you become that version, you're not going to attract that soulmate into your life. And the people who are not a part of you anymore, of your life anymore, um they were not meant to be there anyway.
Right. Let go.
That you'll have to let them go, and close that chapter. So you, if your cup is full, your teacup, you can't keep pouring more tea, it will keep spilling out, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to empty yourself.
Mm-hmm. One of our
Make
listeners
space for more.
is has asked a question, and that is, how do you use manifestation to achieve what you want in life?
Okay, so there is one misconception about manifesting. It's like it has to do with magic and all. It's not like that at all. We
Mm-hmm.
manifest things on a daily basis. This is something we do all the time. It is
Okay.
nothing which is outside of us, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is just a part of us. Manifesting only means aligning with what you wish to achieve. And once your mind is aligned with
Mm-hmm.
your heart desire what your mind intends, then you're able to bring that, we can call it manifestation or desire, into our life. And
Mm-hmm.
it is not far, it is not something which is outside of us, right? Manifesting is very much a part of us. This is, if you imagine something in your life, you're able, that how does us, for example, how does a cell phone
Mm-hmm.
came into being, right? Before we used to have landlines, somebody thought of it, right? Made a plan of having mobile phones. It was
Mm-hmm.
a part. It was somebody's thought to have
Right.
maybe a mobile phone. So everything, even a car, a plane, somebody thought of it, right? Only then it became a thing.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You think of something, and then you can see it in your 3D reality because somebody thought of it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you think of something, that's all manifestation is, that you think of creating happiness for yourself. And if you think in your mind that you're a happy person, you will be able to experience that in your 3D reality. So that is not something which is manifestation. They make, everybody could think that it is something unachievable. It is
Achievable.
something we do all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to know that.
All right. And we have a couple of callers, so let's take them on the air. Radio Azad, you're on the air.
जी आयशा,
Gee.
अ, बहुत ही मज़ा आया। मैं किसी का इंतज़ार कर रही हूँ बैठी हुई, लेकिन मैंने
Okay.
इंटरव्यू पूरा सुना।
Mm-hmm.
सवाल ये है आसमा से कि रुकावटें इतनी आती हैं ज़िंदगी में
Mm-hmm.
और इतनी हेल्प नहीं होती। इतनी रुकावटों के बावजूद एनर्जी को कैसे बहाल रखती हैं और कैसे फोकस करके अचीव करती हैं, बहुत कभी कभार मुश्किल महसूस होता है, बट हम जैसी औरतों के लिए बहुत ज्यादा कहेंगे इतनी हिम्मत दिलाने वाली खातून है.
Absolutely. Thank you. What a great
थैंक यू.
question. One more call. Radio Azad, you're on the air.
Assalamualaikum, Asma and Ayesha.
Walaikum
Walaikum.
assalam. Ji.
Asma, I love your name, Asma Jan. I love it. But anyway, your story is so inspiring. मैं सुन रही थी और मुझे इतने कांटे आ रहे थे because it is so inspirational and you have such a way of connecting. I just stopped everything. Today is Jummah, so Jummah ki namaz, which is one of your ingredients, submitting to your higher self and connecting with the Supreme Being. But मैंने जल्दी से आपका नाम का ही decipher कर दिया. A is awesome. You have been so awesome. You are so sincere. S is for sincerity and connecting and surrendering to the Supreme Being. M is you have so much mastery over what you are talking. So you are an expert who makes us listen to you. And A is your authentic self about what you are
I
saying.
love it. Love it.
Yes,
बहुत
basically
शुक्रिया
that's
आपका.
what you are saying, your authentic self. And I also looked at that flawless which you deciphered. My God, what a wonderful acceptance, letting go, freedom from fear, winning mindset, authentic. ये जो आपका पूरा है is a journal, a manifesto, a journal for creating self-confidence and having ambition to do what you really want to do. God bless you. Keep on doing what you are doing. And thank you, Ayesha, for bringing Asma Jan on airways. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Allah आपको हमेशा कामयाबी दे. आमीन सुम्मा आमीन.
Ameen. Thank you so much. All right. So our first caller had this question about how do you keep that energy and that focus? हिम्मत कैसे आती है?
देखिए बहुत आसान. As I told you right in the beginning of the show, this is all about focus. Where are you focusing on? Everybody has setbacks in their life. Now, are we going to focus on the setbacks, or are we going to focus on how we are going to fix these setbacks and how we are going to move forward? If you see things which are falling apart in your 3D reality, you need to learn to ignore them. And the more we start ignoring them and understand that once we change our internal world by ignoring the external, it will catch up. The internal happiness will inevitably catch up to your external reality.
Yeah.
As soon as you decide that everything I get bogged down too. I have days where I have broken down very, very recently as well. We all break down, right? But then the issue is not breaking down. The issue is how do you rise from that? How
Pick
do you
back up.
pick yourself up and say, okay, I've done my crying, I've done the shedding of the tears, I've done my the drama, everything. Okay, it's over now. Let's just pull ourselves together and once again focus.
Yeah.
Focus on what we want to do, and the focus keeps you going. If you have a goal in sight, and for those who do not have a goal, I will teach you how to have goal setting.
Yeah.
Where are you headed? Because we do not want to be in a train without a destination. You will always take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So creating that vision, the life vision, where we want to see ourselves and never comparing ourselves to others. A very simple thing which I do instead of comparing myself to others, and we all tend to, kind of compare ourselves to others. Compare yourself to yourself 5 years ago. It's as simple.
Yeah.
And once you see where you have come in those 5 years, look at the next 5, and that should be your focus. And you are disconnecting from your original timeline by the power of your thoughts, disengaging from the thoughts which do not serve you.
Yeah.
And focusing on the thoughts which serve you. It is very simple.
Absolutely.
Focusing on things which serve you. I teach very simple things in my course which they are very subtle, but if you learn to do them, you have changed your life because you have disconnected from your old timeline and you have shifted timelines. Now there is no way to change your timeline. Agar if you're on a timeline
Mhm.
and you cannot say कि मैं इसी को बदल देती हूँ. You cannot change your timeline, but what you can do is disengage from it, and you can shift into another timeline with the power of your thoughts. And this is the timeline that has the potential to lead you towards your goals and your desires. It
Yeah.
also has the potential to take you back to your original timeline. The choice is yours. Do you want to go back? Now, I will tell you that the original timeline and your original version 1.0 is a much stronger version, keeps pulling you back. For example, when I was cycling in a cycling team, सड़ी हुई गर्मी में I'm cycling, learning how to draft. Why am I even doing this? I'm asking myself, why am I even here? It was so much easier to be at home cooking
Mhm.
for the children. भाई, it was much easier to do that. Why? किसने कहा है सुबह सुबह 5 बजे उठ के ये करो 70
Right.
किलोमीटर की राइड? You wonder, you question.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
answer to that is that when you're stuck in your comfort zone, life
Mm.
is great.
Yeah.
Everything is because you're not growing as a person.
Mm.
There is nothing difficult, but ask yourself. But even that discomfort at that time, I felt I need to be here in this discomfort. There is something pulling me because I'm growing as a person. But
Mm.
where I didn't know where I was headed, Aisha. I didn't know I was going to the World Cycling Championships. I was just cycling because I enjoyed the discomfort until
Mm.
that discomfort became my new comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's so many great lessons in your life journey and so much that we can learn from, and very, very inspiring. Asma, I really want to thank you for spending so much time with us today and telling our listeners about a little slice of your life and your struggles and how you overcame them. And I think we as women can certainly learn a lot from this. So please do connect with Asma. Give your social handles again, please.
It's at Asma Jan official, and at Asma Jan cyclist. And Jan is Jan. There's no double A.
Okay.
My website is Asma. It's actually www.imflawless. I
Mm-hmm.
am no A
Mm-hmm.
at um sorry, imflawless.co.
Dot
So
co. Okay.
yeah,
I'm flawless.co.
yeah,
Absolute pleasure.
www.imflawless.co.
Great. Absolute pleasure having you on Radio Azad. Do download our app to stay connected with more great programming coming your way. Asma, take care, and
Thank you so much for having me.
inshallah, we'll have you again soon.
Thank you.